Hello there, Superman and Lois fans. I am Anchor Pete, and I'm here with my daughter, Pepper.
Hello.
And we also have Sloopy here today, too. You want to say hi, Sloopy? That's our little dog.
Hello.
Guys, we are here to talk about episode 11 of Superman and Lois, which is called A Brief Reminisce in Between Cataclysmic Events. And so...
Very long name.
Yes. But this episode, if you look at my thumbnail, it says... This is when Superman and Lois is at its best. And I think I figured that out why. The reason why it's at its best. You ready, Pepper?
Wow. How?
I think that if you look at the very first episode of the show, the pilot, right? And you look at this episode, there's actually scenes that are in both the pilot and this episode, right?
Yeah.
I think that the reason why the beginning of the pilot was so good, and I think got a lot of people excited, is because there's very, very brief scenes where you just see some iconic imagery from like the Superman comics and the cartoon, the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a lot of dialogue. It's just like you just see a little flash of this from Superman. You see a little flash of this from Superman. And it's the kind of stuff that we love, the nostalgia, right? And they're not like long drawn out scenes where people are talking back and forth. It's just like someone says something real brief, then you cut to the next scene, right?
Yeah.
And I think that it was well done in the pilot. I think it was well done in this episode too.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yes, I agree. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool that we got some background on like what happened to them and how Superman grew to love humans, which happens in every Superman story, but it's still good to see.
Yeah, Sherry T, Pepper's mom, right? She was up in the loft while we were watching the show. And as we're watching it, I was kind of saying to Pepper how, we've seen this a whole bunch of times. We've seen this a whole bunch of times. And Sherry hasn't even seen every Superman movie or cartoon. And she's like, I've even seen this a whole bunch of times. There's just these iconic Superman moments, right? There's
like him getting married to Lois and stuff.
Right, like him falling in love with Lois, him revealing who he is to Lois.
Him having children.
Well, that doesn't happen often. Yeah. But... there's always the scene where he goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and more often than not, he like literally builds the Fortress of Solitude by throwing like a crystal, and then the fortress kind of comes out of the Arctic, right?
Yeah, he looks pretty mad. Like, it doesn't work. Crystal.
Yeah. There usually is that kind of moment of like, okay, I'm in the middle of nowhere. What am I supposed to do now? And then
throw a crystal on the ground.
Yeah, that's how it worked this time.
I did think something kind of interested me when Morgan Edge said that he liked to feel the sun and because their powers come from the sun. It just kind of confused me. How come Superman put his
sunstone?
Yeah, his sunstone in the Arctic, where it's always night. And not to mention that got me thinking, during the night wouldn't Superman be powerless because the sun goes down and its rays don't shine on him?
So that's a really good question, first off. So Superman is almost like a solar energy battery, where he's just soaking in that solar energy every single day.
So
right?
He's slightly weaker in the night, but...
Maybe, but barely at all. He just is absorbing that energy constantly. On a daily basis, he's just getting it. And even Jor-El, the hologram of his father, kind of explains that in the very beginning of this episode, right? He says that he takes the radiation from Earth's sun and makes it into this energy that makes him super, super powerful. But that's a really interesting point that you bring up, Pepper, too, of why did Morgan Edge pick a different spot for his fortress and Superman has his spot in the Arctic? I think there's a couple different answers for that. One could be, I think that the crystal was guiding Clark to the Arctic. And so I think that's where Jor-El thought would be a good place for him to build his fortress.
Yeah.
And I think that his Morgan Edge, his crystal was guiding him. Yeah, his papa's name is Zeta Rho. And no offense to that actor, but...
We said he looks like the Emperor.
Yeah, they made him very unattractive and just... that brings up this one question. I think you said it during the episode, Pepper. Why would Superman's mother... okay. I just answered the question as I'm saying it. Because we were like, why would Superman's mother get with that dude, right? Because he's not very attractive.
Not to mention he's kind of a jerk.
Right. And I have the answer to that question. You ready?
Yeah.
Because they mentioned this in the last episode.
That it was a forced marriage.
A forced thing. Yeah.
I feel bad for his mother.
So you and I, we need to watch Man of Steel at one point. Okay, we're gonna watch that one. That's like the Superman movie, and when we watch it, you're gonna see all the things that they have in common with this show.
Mhm.
But in that show, in the movie Man of Steel, they imply that people don't have kids the way they do on Earth, on Krypton. That
How
like
do they have kids on Krypton?
literally like your DNA gets matched up with another person's DNA and it like makes another baby. It's like this planned thing.
So like you kiss them and boom, a baby.
No. That's the kind of the controversial thing in Man of Steel is that Superman's parents, they do something that goes against the system. Superman's not like a cloned baby. He's like a baby that they made together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'll show you Man of Steel, and then you'll see. But so that's what they
So
imply.
Morgan Edge is a clone baby. He's gonna grow up to be just as ugly as his father.
He's definitely from this like forced pregnancy between Superman's mom and Zeta Rho, the unattractive Zeta Rho.
Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. Something about him.
Well, I had a question for you because
As like a child, he was kind of weird, and his dad was really bossy. I wouldn't work for my dad if you actually like that.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you this, and maybe you could, if you don't know, then maybe someone in the comments could tell us too. But they showed this like beam of energy coming down and hitting him when he was a teenager. Like his dad kept talking about weakness, and then this like beam of energy came down and was hitting him and kind of burning him.
You mean Superman?
No, Morgan Edge when he's a teenager and he goes to the fortress. There's like a beam that comes down and hits him, right? And he's like, he's all in pain. And then they cut to the present, and then Superman's in his fortress now, and the beam comes down, and it's like kind of burning him. And then at the very, very last scene, Superman, he's done with that beam, and he kind of like looks up, and his eyes are red. So I didn't know exactly what happened there with that beam. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, I have one small theory. It might not be very much.
Okay.
And it might not be good enough, but
Go.
like, I have the theory that what if they can have too much sun, and so at a certain point it hurts their bodies to absorb so much, like they get full of it.
Could be.
You know how humans drink water? If you drink too much, you're gonna have to go
drown.
pee.
Right. Yeah, it could be that. I was taking it like they were burning out his like emotions or like burning out his weakness.
Yeah, but then he was saying that thing with Superman where he was like, "No, I've always wanted a brother since I was little." He seemed pretty emotional then, and he walked up and like shattered his dad's crystal.
Oh yeah, we should talk about
food.
That was kind of an upsetting thing to see. They did that kind of in Man of Steel too, where they destroy the crystal that holds Jor-El. So it's like, okay, now your dad's really gone. Like he already died before, but like his essence is gone now, so you can't talk to your dad anymore. That's pretty upsetting.
No, he didn't even cry though, Clark. It would be a little bit.
No, he
was
did.
just like, no.
No, he did his thing that is quite common on the show, where he just sort of gets mad and he like flies at someone. Just, you know, that happens very often.
He's got anger issues rather than sadness issues.
That's something that they get directly from Man of Steel, where Superman or any of the Zack Snyder Superman movies, if he gets upset, he just sort of just like flies at someone immediately and he starts hitting them. You know, which is not very. That's not like the comic. Let's just put it that way.
I feel like there should be some more passion because your dad just died for real.
He did. He like flew right at him, but then Morgan Edge flipped him around, so beat him up.
Not just like, I'm gonna punch this guy because he killed my dad. If somebody killed you, I wouldn't be like, I'm gonna go punch that person really fast.
Yeah, well, hopefully if someone kills me, you're not like right there to go jump at them, you know. Hopefully no one kills me in the first place. Let's not get to that point.
Hopefully no one crushes your crystal.
Yeah, no one crushes my crystal. Just metaphorically, they crush my soul. So anyway, Pepper, I made a list. I made a list of the episodes of this show that I have enjoyed or that I thought were good. And so I made a list of 5 episodes. Now, there's been 11 episodes altogether.
Burn, you cut 6.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just going to be fair. If anyone from the CW ever watches this, I think it's a good show. I really like the actors on it, but there's definitely like a lot of fat that could be trimmed, right?
Yeah, like that scene where Sarah and Jordan are there, and then what's it called? Jonathan's mildly drunk, and he walks up and he's like, "Hey guys," and she's like, "I can't believe you."
Oh,
did that episode make the cut?
No. I can tell you right away. the first episode, which is the pilot, right?
Mhm.
Very first episode. Then Man of Steel, which is the one that we find out that Lex Luthor is really John Henry Irons.
Yeah.
That was episode 7, though.
Wait, do we have flashbacks with his child in that episode?
With his daughter, I think so. Yes, I think that's the one with his daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Loyal Subjects. That was episode 9. That's when things kind of start to ramp up, where you find out that's the one when like Kyle Cushing. We find out that he has a Kryptonian in him.
Yeah.
That one, right? And then Oh Mother, Where Art Thou? That was the last episode that we watched, episode 10, where like Superman's mother goes into Lana Lang.
Yeah.
Right? And then the most recent episode, which has a really long title. So it's gotten better. It's gotten better from like episode 9, 10, and 11. Those are all consistently good. But I just felt like there was a lot of filler. It seems like when it was focusing more on Jordan and his issues, I wasn't liking it as much. But
I think there were some cool scenes and shots in those episodes, but overall, I'd give them like 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Whoa! Take that, Jordan. Sorry.
Yeah, but I did like that one scene where he was like having ear problems and he takes the headphones and he's
yes.
That was kind of cool. But
I think that I really like Clark and Lois romantically. Like it shows
ship them.
Well, that I like that. I don't really like them working together as reporters because honestly, they don't seem very competent as reporters, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean, it's just kind of like, where are you from? Where did you be born?
I don't think she said, "Where did you be born?" to Clark, but it's just
they don't seem like reporters because obviously in real life they're not. But
no, it's just when you're a little kid and you see someone that's a reporter, like when you see the Clark Kent's reporter, you don't really think much about it, right? Because you're like, oh, a reporter tells the news. You don't really know that much. But we've seen so many shows now where the news plays a big part or it's about reporters and we see what they do. And this show doesn't really try to even emulate that at all. So I don't really like when they are like investigating something together, which they've done on a few episodes.
yeah, I mean, I thought of that one thing where there was like that Nazi guy in a mask where he was just like, I'm a hero. And then he tries to literally burn
Lois with a flamethrower?
Yeah, I mean.
I wish that I had taken the time to look up who that was from the comics. I'm not even sure if that's a character from the comics. But I
feel kind of bad for him. I didn't want him to die. I wanted to see him.
He didn't die though, right? Lois like tased him in the neck.
Yeah, I bet he's dead though.
No, I don't think a taser doesn't usually kill someone.
Yeah, but what if you do it in the neck? It's like a vampire biting you, electrocuting you at the same time.
In the neck, it's probably pretty intense. But what I was going to say was that I think that scene was definitely deliberate. They chose to do that scene to show like a white supremacist attacking a neighborhood of, immigrant people or people that were, from like the Middle East or Middle Eastern descent. Because they want to play up that idea that Superman cares about all people. It's not just, the American way. A recent cartoon that they had, a recent cartoon Superman movie that came out was called Superman versus the Klan, which I think was based on a comic. And do you know what the Ku Klux Klan is?
No.
That's the guys that wear like the white hoods, and they're racist and they burn crosses and do horrible things to African American people. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Yeah, like I guess in a way it's
Wait,
good
are
that
they
you don't
real?
know. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a real group of people. It's still around even to this day. But I know that with DC in general, and I guess the CW as well, they definitely want to push against racism, show that these heroes are there for everyone, not just the American way. Even Lois, when she's interviewing him on the set, she said
it's the American way.
Right. That's what Superman stands for in like some of the cartoons and what they've said about Superman.
I mean, to be fair, with this whole costume design, he really does look like he mainly cares for Americans, and most of the time his stories take place in America.
Right.
Like he literally wears blue and red and yellow.
I know, it's almost like red, white, and blue. Yeah. Pepper, it's kind of interesting because if you look into the designs of superhero characters and supervillains,
and then Wonder Woman.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Often the superheroes wear red, white, and blue, right?
Yeah. Batman doesn't.
Batman's the exception, right?
Because, he's just kind of goth.
Well, there's times there's a Green Lantern, right? He doesn't wear red, white, or blue, right? But then the villains tend to wear green. They tend to wear purple.
That's
Right.
the Joker and Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Well, they wear red sometimes too in the villain.
Yeah, but it just comes back to design and like what certain colors evoke in people. Like, there's a reason why our flag is red, white, and blue too, because the colors make people feel a certain way.
Yeah, I think that there's like a fact like almost every single flag has red on it.
Yeah, that might be true. Yeah. You know, wow, we're really going off on all these different tangents, right? We're talking about the Ku Klux Klan, and we're talking about flags, and what else? Well, you know, just design
Patriotic
of
Superman.
Yeah. But I think the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because this episode really tries to capture the essence of Superman in a series of flashbacks, right? And I think it does a very good job at that. It captures that iconic cover of the very first appearance of Superman, where he's lifting up the car. We saw this in the pilot. It's kind of funny because
his costume. Yeah, he was like, "Mom made it for me."
You're right. It's kind of funny because, you know, obviously when Superman first appeared in the 1930s, he's lifting up a car from that time. The closest thing they could get was a PT Cruiser, which that was kind of an ugly-looking green PT Cruiser.
I know.
Right.
I called it a pickle.
Yeah, it looked like a pickle. That's right. Very good point. But I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I should talk about. One scene that I really, really liked was that scene I just mentioned before, where Lois was interviewing Superman, and this woman pulls her aside. She's like a producer or something.
I think Superman's got the hots for you.
Right. Superman's got a crush on you. Oh, right.
Yeah, and Lois is like, "I'm not interested in you. I'm interested in my geeky reporter."
Right. Who looks just like you, by the way. We've been dating for months, and he hasn't taken off his glasses once. So yeah. So I don't know that you're him. Yes.
He casually wears his glasses to bed.
Right. So that is kind of atypical for Superman stories. Usually Lois finds out that Clark is Superman kind of early on, usually before they become romantically engaged, right? So it's like she finds out that he's Superman, and then they become a couple.
Well, no. They were a couple already, though.
Right. In this, it was different.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I just really like that scene. I like that he could hear her saying that, and that she really liked Clark, even though you got Superman, who's like the ultimate bachelor. That's what the woman says, right?
The ultimate. I mean, he's not that good looking or anything, so.
Dude, come on now. He's dreamy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, with his little weird curly hair.
You're mocking the S curl? Come on now. But I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to talk about real quick. I think that's it. You know, I was trying to find if there was a pattern with who writes these episodes, who directs them, if there was a person that wrote a lot of my favorite episodes, but it turns out it's not. It's a writer's room, and usually there's one main writer that gets the credit, and there's a different writer for all of these episodes. There's also a different director for all these episodes, too.
What's the worst episode in your opinion?
Let me see. That might give me a moment to think about that. Do you have one that you think is the worst?
I mean, I can't quite remember, but I think that one where they went to the festival was pretty rough.
The festival, yeah, I'm trying to think what happens in that one.
And then, you know, all the angsty teenager of Jordan and Jonathan-ness. Those were the best episodes.
Yeah, I think maybe the one, it might have been like episode 8, when the guy is a Kryptonian, but he's a soldier at the DOD. Rossetti? You like that episode?
I mean, that episode wasn't that bad.
Okay.
That was kind of cool.
Well, I like that you remembered his name. That's cool.
Rossetti. It's kind of an easy name to remember. Rossetti.
Well, yeah, and like I said, he was even a character from the comics, too. But we only have 4 episodes left, Pepper, of this show. And I have to say that I had a bad feeling about it by the time we got to like episode 2 or 3. But then it's really on the upswing now, and they're really tying everything together real nicely.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird because this episode we saw the twins as babies and like them for 1 second, but that was it. Oh, not to mention Sarah and Jordan are dating now.
Yeah, they started kissing. Oh my God.
Yeah, like I said, I think it would be really a lot better if he accidentally lasered her forehead.
My super puberty. I don't mean for this to happen. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe that's a sad thing, because maybe like the less we see of the twins, maybe the better the show. I don't know.
Those poor actors. They're like,
No, I like those actors a lot. It's just that sometimes I feel like they don't know what to do with them.
you know, let's just make them go to a fair and have Jonathan get drunk.
Get drunk, yeah. Yeah, I don't like
Even
that.
though he's 14.
Yeah. So that's it, basically, guys. You know, in the commercial for next week's episode, they showed John Diggle, John Diggle is one of the main characters from Arrow, from the show Arrow. He's always been a big part of the Arrowverse, which this show takes place in. So it'd be real cool to see people from the other CW superhero shows come in. I want to do a little research to see which of those shows are still around at this point, because I think that like The Flash must be coming to an end soon. And so you have this show, Supergirl ended, and Supergirl ended.
Like the blue man or whatever color he was.
I don't think you're gonna be able to see the blue man. The Flash is up to season 8, which is ridiculous. I don't know if it's gonna end soon.
Wait, this show only has 1 season, right?
So far. And then there is Batwoman, and I don't know if you know about Batwoman, but it started out with
I've seen a commercial for it. Yeah.
Well, it started out with one actress playing Batwoman, and then she left the show, so they had another character become Batwoman.
Do they look completely different?
It's a different character, and yes, they do look completely different.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think there's Batwoman, and then they had Black Lightning, but that's done too.
What's Black Lightning?
Black Lightning is a superhero, and he's from the DC universe too. But he's pretty cool too. I can tell you all about him in another episode.
Did CW ever make a villains show? Like that'd be cooler.
They don't have a villain show, no.
You know, I really want a show about villains that like just get to kill people all the time for fun.
Well, maybe we should watch Suicide Squad. But I was going to tell you, Pepper, that with the CW, they've done almost like every villain that is in the DC universe, but there's a few that they haven't done. You ready? They've never done the Joker.
What? She's like the classic.
They kind of showed Harley, but she was like in a cape, like you couldn't really see her. They've never done Darkseid, and they've never done any kind of Green Lantern stuff.
I didn't even know who Darkseid was until like 5 days ago.
Oh, okay. Well, they haven't done any Green Lantern stuff, but you know, tonight's episode, guys, we've been all over the place, but we always appreciate you guys watching, especially my buddy that watches this and comments every episode. Dude, you are awesome. Looking forward to your comment this time. But yeah, we will be here for the last 4 episodes. Tonight, if you're watching this the day that we recorded it, tonight, me and Brian are going to be talking about Loki episodes 2 and 3. You can join us at 9:30 p.m. Central Time to join in that discussion. But Pepper, thanks so much for doing this with me. And, you know, we will see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye.